We need to get started here, Chris. Well, welcome everyone. It is 6:30, calling the meeting to order. July 13th, 2026. It is 6:30. Planning Commission. Roll call, please.
Hello, everyone. Chair Helfrich.
Here.
Commissioner Love.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking.
Nope.
I was waiting for the, okay.
So you're here. Commissioner Love.
Here.
Commissioner Norpton. Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner McFadden.
Here.
Commissioner Adams. Appears absent. And Commissioner Monson. We have quorum.
We have a quorum. This time, I ask those who are willing and able to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag. One individual. Thank you. So at this time, do we have anybody on the sign-up sheet for public comment?
No, sir.
Is there anybody online?
Does not appear so.
All righty, so we can move on to consent of agenda. Planning Commission minutes on June 8th, 2026. June 8th. And then we'll do the second. We got two of them, so we'll do them one at a time.
I do believe that because they're in the consent agenda item together, that if we're going to pull one out, we need to pull them out separately. And actually at this time, I would like to pull it out so that we represent the 22nd, because I do have to add a change to those minutes.
So because she moved to pull that out, you can vote to approve the consent agenda with the 8th. And then after discussion, you can approve, there can be a motion to approve the 22nd afterwards. So now since Commissioner McFadden moved to pull it out, then you would vote on the consent agenda with only the 8th at this point, and then discuss and then agree.
So we're approving the 8th, but not the 22nd. Is that what we're?
Yes, because Commissioner McFadden asked to pull that out. So now you would need to have a motion to approve the 8th.
We're all right. Let's do one at a time, folks. It's the 8th that we're looking at. This is what we're looking for approval, not the 22nd. Do we hear a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Monson. Commissioner Les.
Yes.
Commissioner Helfrich.
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Commissioner McFadden.
Yes.
Commissioner Norpton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, now we're looking at the minutes of the study session from June 22nd, 2026.
Chair, if I may be recognized. Can I speak?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to address an issue concerning the written minutes for our Planning Commission study session held on June 22nd, 2026. So there's, due to an anomaly in the meeting video recording, a portion of the discussion was not captured and was not accurately reflected. So while meeting minutes aren't required to be verbatim transcript, I did consult with the Oregon Ethics Commission as a learning exercise. And I learned that because we had a quorum, any discussions related to a vote or attempted vote should be accurately reflected in the public record. So I also was advised that failing to correct the minutes under those circumstances could expose commissioners to a potential ethics violation. So that was my understanding of the conversation. So accordingly, I just want to move that the following exchange be added to the written minutes and included in the official public record of the June 22nd, 2026 Planning Commission study session. And that's at approximately 1 hour and 10 minutes into the meeting recording. Commissioner Lutz asked the commission for consensus, stating in substance, can we all agree as a commission to pass this, referring to the proposed transportation system plan as presented on June 22nd. And then, of course, I responded that the commission was not we were not there to take a vote. That's the extent of it. My understanding is just putting that onto the record is a corrective action and all that's needed in order to be able to make that record whole. So I believe we need to vote on allowing making that amendment or correction.
So basically, we're asking to add that to the minutes. Is that what you're asking?
So I'm not. So it was part of our meeting. It was a conversation that happened in our meeting, and in the recording of our meeting, the video recording, there's an audio anomaly where Commissioner Lutz's voice and Chair Helfrich's voice are actually dubbed over each other and talking, and we lose Commissioner Lutz's comments. And then my response afterwards also wasn't captured in correctly. So this is a to that to make sure that we capture it, because the conversation is about a vote and because we had quorum. My understanding is that we just need to get that on the record as a corrective action, because it's also a public meeting, that it's not a problem that it's being asked, that it's kind of a normal consensus thing, but not having it on record could be a conflict. That's my understanding of it. So under the advisement, the correction, it would just be a matter of correcting it to make sure we get that conversation on the record.
So that's the corrective action that you're looking for, is to go back and clean up that part of the conversation that was not recorded. However, should be on the minutes of the meeting. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay.
So Commissioner McFadden, maybe you could transcribe the part that you want in the minutes and then give them to the city recorder. And at the next meeting, he can come back with a transcript of what you'd like to add in the meeting, and then we can add it at that point.
So I'm not sure if we can vote to pass the minutes today without it, but I'm happy to send an email to the recorder right now, and I'm happy to read it to the commission verbatim.
So I'm trying to wrap my arms around this, and I think we can do it. I respect that. Is it really relevant and important, that conversation that was totally heard, or does it change anything?
So because it's related to a vote, and we had a quorum, my understanding is if we have conversations where we're trying to get consensus or agreeing on a vote when we have quorum, that would be a problem. And because it was left out of the audio, we would have a problem if it were left out, but putting it on the audio is a corrective action, because then it makes it accessible to the public.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, we used to use some certain language in Talent all the time, and I propose perhaps we could have, one idea is a motion where you accept the minutes as written with one correction, and that correction is the Planning Commission and, reached informal consensus on the subject of advancing the TSP topic, TSP interim update. Would that remedy the issue in your eyes, Commissioner McFadden?
I'm not sure. I think what I had was pretty general. I'm again not trying to be verbatim, but it was just that Commissioner Lutz asked the commission for consensus on approving the proposed transformation system plan as presented on June 22nd, 2026. And then Commissioner McFadden responded that the commission was not there to take present to take a vote.
We didn't take a vote. There was no motion. It was just,
Exactly. Yeah.
I think an informal consensus, I think it could not hurt to put it on the record of the minutes that, an informal consensus was reached to continue the topic of the TSP interim update, but, I'll just bow out.
No, I think what you're saying, I think what you're saying kind of gives us the format for it. And it does sound like you guys it would be helpful to see the word and like to see it in writing is what I'm hearing. That just the concept of Commissioner Lutz asking the commission for consensus, stating in substance, can we all agree as a commission to pass this? Right. And then I responded that we're not able to take a vote.
Again, this was a study session, a lot of open discussion, trying to, there was a little bit of, what you call it, open discussion, basically. But no motions, no decision was made. Yes, please.
To accept changes to the minutes as Commissioner McFadden has stated. She's stated them a couple times. We've been able to read along.
What are those changes?
Just action.
What are those changes that you're suggesting?
She said that Commissioner Lutz had basically asked if there was consensus and if we could vote. And Mr. McFadden said that no, your voting is not appropriate this time, essentially. If there's more exact wording, then I'm open to it. But I guess I'm just trying to move this along.
Exactly. So, it was a no vote right from the get go.
There's a motion. So at this point, we have to get a second before we can discuss. So there's a motion on the table. Somebody has a second, and then we can talk about it.
So McFadden motioned, Norpchin seconded. So then we would move to,
McFadden made the motion?
is that correct? Commissioner McFadden, is that you move?
Yes.
Add that?
Yes.
Oh, I thought Sarah made the motion.
No, I made the motion. I said accordingly, I move that the following exchange be added to the written minutes and included in the official public record of June 22nd, 2026 Planning Commission study session.
That was a motion. We have a second. Now we'll take a roll call.
Well, there's discussion and then roll call.
Okay,
Right.
discussion and then roll call.
So I just feel a little bit uncomfortable. But my name is interjected in this with what I said. I haven't read it. I need to go back and take a look. So I'm a little bit uncomfortable with having my name put out there saying that I requested a vote. I'm not sure if I did that.
Actually, yeah, and I just to your point, I didn't actually say that either. What I said is, can we all agree as a commission to pass this? You were looking for consensus, and that's what I put down as Commissioner Lutz ask the commission. If you want to look at your screens, it'll be written out as I say it. Commissioner Lutz asked the commission for consensus, stating in substance, can we all agree as a commission to pass this? Referring to the proposed transportation system plan proposal as presented on June 22nd, 2026. Commissioner McFadden responded that the commission was not intended to take a vote. It was just a study session. Just
So can we just put that in as
I'm
a
fine.
correction?
I'm fine with that.
I mean,
Yes,
can we just put that in as a correction?
we can. And the motion is to do
If
that.
it passes, I would take exactly that language and
Exactly.
add it to the minutes. And then the next
Okay.
planning meeting, you would approve the 20 seconds meeting minutes at that time as well.
Correct.
I have a correction that needs to go as well, and it's just your name. It says Chair Volport called the meeting to order, and you're not Chair Volport. So
I'm sorry. Say
And
again.
Will,
Will Volport, they put Chair Volport, and it needs to say your name.
That is my bad. Yes.
Nope.
I will make that change.
Well, I'm sure that does get corrected.
Yeah. Anyway, so alrighty. So we have a motion, we have a second, we have a roll call.
Okay. Commissioner McFadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Norpchin,
Yes.
Chair Helfrich,
I'll break the tie.
Chair Smith,
Yes.
Chair Monso.
Yeah.
Commissioner Monso, Commissioner Les,
yes.
Commissioner Norton, I already said that, and then Commissioner Adams is out, so it passes. Well, vote.
The chair always votes last. I don't make the rules, but the chair breaks the ties.
Okay,
So we always call the chair last, out of respect. I don't.
Okay.
Just happen to be the.
and what is your vote?
Yes,
Fabulous, then it passes.
thank goodness. Woo. All righty, so, well, thank you, everybody. Good catch. That went well. So consent agenda, okay, so, new business, we're, future code updates. Jeff, you have an update, staff report, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, so this is kind of old business of sorts. We've been working on the wildfire code project for a while now. It seems more timely than ever, what with the smoke up north, but I'll give a brief kind of summary of the staff report that was in the planning commission packet. Basically, we're picking up where we left off. The project started in 2025. The wildfire audit identified 3 key areas where we could stand to tighten up our wildfire mitigation. The first was with wildfire resistant landscaping. The second was with wildfire risk reduction to structures through specific structure hardening measures. And the third was just basically relaxing some of our historic preservation standards to reduce risk to historic structures. And so in 2026, we basically started talking with our local subject matter experts. In addition to Ryan Handy with Headwaters Economics, we spoke with Chief Aaron Bussard of Fire District 5 and our building official Cliff Pettigrew. And they basically had some recommendations for us. Chief Hussey with Fire District 3 also helps our community and recommended some defensible space code that we looked at back in spring. The next thing we did for this kind of topic is we did a survey, and we did like a little interactive booth at the Heart of the Phoenix fair, and we got some public input on that. This is still early on in the public input process, but it gave us a little bit of a trajectory or a bullseye to aim for at least. And with your input as well, I just basically looked for a sample code to get the conversation started. And so it seemed like the general theme was we're looking for things that won't make new development exorbitantly expensive. More common sense, low hanging fruit type things to do with landscaping. I got some notes from our past meeting. Some of the core ideas were on landscaping, defensible space, noxious weeds. We talked about pros and cons of development costs and things like that. And so when I was looking through, our neighbor's code, Ashland really stood out to me as having something pretty dialed in. They've had their wildfire code on the books since 2018. And so basically a lot of this draft code that's in our agenda, our planning package here, comes from City of Ashland, just as a jumping off point that we can kind of, if you want to go line by line through tonight, and I can get a better idea of what you like or what you don't like. And then we can advance this to an authoritative development code update. So this would probably be the last, kind of semi-study session. You are allowed to make a motion on this item tonight. And there is a recommended motion at the end of this staff report that basically, it's for your consideration. Basically, you could recommend we advance this project along. But I'm just looking for, a consensus and a motion can be made for that. I have 2 exhibits or attachments to this project to modify 2 separate parts of our land development code. One is in the landscapes code, and it addresses fences and walls, the materials they can be made out of. But the real bulk, the meat and potatoes, is a new chapter that would be in our design standards, chapter 3.13. And that's the last few pages of our agenda package here talk about that. And if you want, we can pull that up on our screen here and kind of go line by line through that. But basically, this is this is zoning code, right? This is not municipal code per se. So this would apply to new development and new redevelopment. Folks who already, have their site developed wouldn't trigger these requirements necessarily until they came in for redevelopment, and then they may have to make those updates. So that's kind of an overview. I figured we could start going through the meat and potatoes of this really, which is the draft chapter 3.13. And there's two at the heart of this code update, there's two requirements. The first is a fire prevention control plan, which would be at time of development. And the second thing is the implementation of the plan, which is a fuel modification requirement. So basically the treatment of the site. So the first step is city staff and the fire department review the plan. We look at the landscaping, we look at the materials, and then that would be approved, or, there's standards in this code here. And then once the fire plan was approved, there's the implementation where the developer or the property owner goes to the site and they, remove highly flammable vegetation as needed, or make site updates as needed. So, Joe, if you would you be able to pull up the Planning Commission code on our browser? Oh, actually, this graphic is probably the most helpful thing to inform the conversation. I don't even know if we have to get into the weeds. If you could pull up that wildfire panel tab, the far right tab up on your browser window. So this is effectively what the City of Ashland Development Code is calling for. And I find this infographic is just helpful. It's going to save me a lot of talking if I just show you. Here's kind of what they're calling for. They want trees limbed up. New decks and small additions require defensible space of 30 feet. If it's a new site development, then the entire site receives vegetation treatment, not just the 30-foot buffer area. This has a defensible space, like a very hard rule of 0 to 5 feet around the structure. That's fire hardened. So no vegetation, basically non-flammable material only. So gravel, concrete, things like that for the first 5 feet. And that extends around decks and buildings alike. And I think this just does, a fairly good job from at least my first and second pass of doing the things we want to do without imposing a whole bunch of development costs. And, I just love to get your input on kind of the direction we're going at this point. Does this kind of align with what you were hoping to see, something that applies to new development and redevelopment, but not necessarily existing?
Is this for all areas of Ashland or just?
Yes, sir.
So even downtown, let's say a commercial structure is taken down downtown and then rebuilt, and there's zero lot line. There's no. This would apply.
Yes, sir. In the applicability section of 3.1, 3.2, the plan is required for commercial design review, and residential if it's 3 dwelling units or greater. So absolutely.
Okay, so 3 dwelling units or greater.
The plan, yes.
Okay.
The fire treatment, though, the way I'm reading this is, smaller projects would have some requirements applied to them as well.
So the single family home in downtown Ashland, it has to meet these requirements that we're looking at.
That's my interpretation. Yes, sir. And I plan on reaching out to City of Ashland planning and seeing if I can get some input from them too. They've had several years now, 8 years to apply this code. And I just wanted to get a little debrief from them on what do they think, what would they change if they could.
One more builder or existing.
So this is new. So new build. If people have left their properties alone, and it's interesting. There's lots of places, and I was just driving through there, and there's definitely some prohibited plant vegetation in parts of town, and I have a feeling a lot of it's still grandfathered.
So new build would be not just a new structure, but let's say a person wants to add a deck or an addition on his house,
Mhm.
then he falls into this, correct?
Yes, so 200 square feet, I believe, for a structure is
I
the
did see
threshold,
that. Yeah, I did see that.
and a deck. But that doesn't make you treat the whole yard, is my understanding. It makes you only treat 30 feet around only. I don't know. It's quite a lot, but so there's a difference between the two. It's the entire site if it's new development, but if you're doing like an accessory structure or a deck or a small addition, 30 feet. I think that's simply put.
Okay.
You mentioned, you mentioned that the fire department and planning staff have to get together and review a plan for a new development.
Yes, yes, sir. I mean, as this code is written, that does. I mean, that's something I would like to get some input from the fire chief on sooner rather than later is, you know, do you have bandwidth for that? You know,
So single family home getting developed, it insists that you have a meeting with the fire department and staff regarding the plant, the vegetation on the lot.
on a new lot, are we talking, or are we talking
Yeah.
about existing?
Well, it could be if there's a tear down in Phoenix, the house that get torn
Oh,
down
like
or rebuilt,
Yes.
at that point, the fire department and staff have to meet regarding that new build.
That's the way I interpret this.
I
Certainly we could change those rules.
I thought maybe it was saying that the fire department and staff need to meet regarding the new rule going into place, but not meet on every single project.
So the basic, sorry.
No, I don't, so what you're asking, make sure I understand the question before you reply, please. So you're asking that the fire district would be involved in the approval process or just staff and planning?
Well, earlier it was mentioned that at times the fire department and staff would need to get together to review the fire plan. I'm not sure what the words were,
Mhm.
but the plan that new development has to be reviewed by the fire department and staff. And I'm asking it because it seems a little bit onerous to call in the fire department on every development.
Yeah, I know, like,
Fire control plan is only required for preliminary plat of a subdivision land partition commercial site. So it's already pretty limited.
For your existing house, if you want to add 200 square feet or more.
Yeah,
So that could be any residence in.
increasing the footprint. So I guess it seems that there's already some key features.
Talking to me?
Yes, is that, am I following you?
Well, I don't know either. That's why I'm asking. Well, but my whole point is, if there's a slight modification to whom they want to put on a deck, I don't know why the fire department has to come in
Yeah.
and review it. So if we got to do that with the fire department's going to go, what, I got to go out there, 100 times into 50 times or whatever amount of times it is during the year in Phoenix, it seems like a lot.
I just think the reality is that, I mean, for a guy to add on to his house, whatever, it doesn't have to be reviewed by fire department. But if you're talking about, like, I remember when Home Depot came, obviously everybody had to be involved because you need fire lanes, you need all of that. This doesn't involve fire lanes or we don't have in-room sprinklers or anything like that. So I think on new builds or even on add-on existing structure, I don't see to what level, I guess is what I'm asking, to what level would we involve fire department, which is, again, a large structure like Home Depot or Garrison's. They all had to have that, obviously, and
Yes,
that's
sir.
part of our marching orders for planning.
Yes, sir. So that brings up a good point. How is the fire district already involved? I can say that for commercial development, they're involved in every project. Single family, no. And we could certainly relax. This is simply draft language, so I could relax it to whatever degree you'd like. But commercial developments, they're involved in, and that also includes multifamily development. I think the threshold for that is 3 or 4 dwelling units or more. Fire district will be looking at those plan
So
sets.
C, what would that be? R3.
Yes, sir. So they're basically already looking at the building code, fire code side of the thing and fire access. But that's another, another thing to consider is they're not necessarily looking at vegetation. I worked for a time at Jackson County, and every development in, the wildfire habitat overlay, which is quite a bit in Jackson County, did have the eyes of the fire district on them, but we're urban. It's a little different story. So I can definitely come back to you with revised standards. The threshold is now, multifamily and commercial only, no single family at all. We could certainly do that.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Lewis?
So as I'm reading it, it does seem to apply to every single property that change. Yeah.
Yes.
I have a question if I may.
Yes, Commissioner McFadden.
So if the fire department's coming out to review, what authority do they have to give input or require changes based off of this? I mean, are they just coming to say, check, 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 it passes, and therefore we either authorize an occupancy permit or we don't? Or I don't know quite what the outcome of their review would be if they found something that maybe didn't meet the requirement.
I do think that, so great question. So the plan itself is part of the zoning review process. So there is some discretion, as this code is written, at least for the fire district to apply if they find a need for it. But there's basically, it seems like there's two steps where the fire district will get involved in a draft code like this, like at the time of plan review and approval. And then it seems like either planning staff or the fire district is going out to verify that that plan was executed prior to occupancy. And this is very common for planning staff to go out. For instance, when commercial development happens, we look to make sure parking lots are striped, trees are installed in accordance with their landscape plans, and storm water systems are installed and things like that. So this would be kind of just another box to check for planning staff. It wouldn't increase planning staff time too much. Does that answer the question?
Commissioner McFadden, does that answer your question?
Sorry, I'm muted, so I just had to get off mute. I think it does answer my question to some extent. And it sounds like it can be the fire department or planning staff,
Yes, ma'am.
which is kind of a nice option. Thank you.
So do we have kind of a consensus that we don't want to have the fire department review every single plan? And then we're gonna do some discretion as to what type of plan for the review. Is there anybody against that?
My understanding, if I heard
As
Jeff
written,
right, is that it's either planning staff or the fire department, and that planning staff is already going out and often doing this. Did I understand that correctly?
But in the write-up tonight, you talked about the fire department and planning staff. And I guess visiting the site to approve the plan. To approve all plans. And what I'm saying is I don't think that the fire department should be involved in approving all plans. They should be involved in maybe commercial and larger residential. And we need to have a break point between when the fire department is required to go out. The planning department that normally goes out. So at some point, don't have the fire department go out for smaller developments, just add some kind of threshold, like commercial and multifamily, something of that nature.
can you direct me to what page this is exactly saying? I got the pages right here. I just need the page number.
Yes, sir. So the plan requirement is on page 11 of the agenda packet.
I'm sorry.
The plan, the fire prevention and control plan, is on page 11 of the agenda packet.
Okay.
And then the fuel modification requirements, which are different, that is on page 12 of the packet.
Okay, so everybody take a moment, read it and critique it.
Jeff, I'm wondering, in consultation, with the fire official. Is that a requirement? Is that an option? Like they have the option and they chime in or they don't? It's
I would-
up to them.
Great question. I like removing as much discretion from these as humanly possible. It helps me just black and white so I'd love to change that language in consultation with. I don't really even like the discretionary calls, from the fire district, but they're the subject matter experts. So, but
I have a question around how the planning department and fire department would currently interact. So I want to build a 400 square foot addition to move my ailing parent in. Would you be making site visits right now, or would you be reviewing just the documents and the prints laid out?
the way the code is written, I think that planning staff or the fire district would come out prior to occupancy for the new structure or addition.
But is that different than what currently exists? Currently, would you come out now?
No,
Okay,
no.
so will be additional time on one department or the
Yes.
other if we implement
yes,
this?
I would, great point. So I think distilled, what I would say is single family residential, planning staff doesn't really take too much. We don't really go out for those. Multifamily, always.
Gotcha. R3. All righty.
So what I would like to do is clean up I want to get a little bit of input from City of Ashland, frankly, on, because it seems weird to me that it seems like smaller infill type projects require fuel modification, but when is that verified? I'm a little shaky on the when, like what is the mechanistic trigger for that, when the building permit is going to be closed out or what? I would love feedback on, okay, first off, what would you like these new development rules to apply to? Do you want to make it just commercial and multifamily, since we're already looking at those ones already anyways? And we can really truly incorporate the fire prevention and control plan right into the landscape requirements that they already have, because we're already looking to see, okay, do you have enough street trees? Do you have enough shrubs and whatever? This time we're just looking, okay, did they call for any forbidden plant materials based on this list at the same time? And it's a small amount of work, but it's not a tremendous, heavy lift.
I think one of the questions I have though is about effectiveness of the plan. So how would it affect the plan if we were to do just the multifamily homes and larger developments? Would we indeed meet the intention of actually improving the safety if we kind of carve out too many of our single family homes?
That's a great point. And that's, sorry, Mr. Chair, is this kind of I guess, what I'd say is when we apply these rules only to new development or redevelopment, we're accepting the fact that the town is, probably 85 to 90% already developed. So I think that like wholesale changes overnight, this probably wouldn't, just based on my own observations. I was, in the next part of the meeting, I'll talk to you about how many permits are being issued and things like that. So, this code would apply to new development. It doesn't make new development really more expensive, but existing development, I think the impact would be a little bit more limited. I wish our consultant Ryan was here with us tonight. She might be able to speak more intelligently on that, because she's seen communities adopt these things, and it also, might have made a difference if this was adopted in, 2022 or something. But now that we're basically fully redeveloped, this would make a big difference in two areas that come to mind for me. PH3, and we can pull up a map here if you want, but it's basically the north end of the town along Highway 99. There's a lot of, and you can see 4 little blue dots along Highway 905. So there's a lot of infill redevelopment happening there that these rules would apply to. And then that TEC zone as well, that big purple area on the northeast side of town. So this would be impactful for those areas.
New build.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think for my sake, based off of my understanding at this point, I would be okay if it was all new developments, if it was or changes, if it's planning staff or excuse me, or fire, and you guys get to decide who goes out, but that just one of you goes out.
Sounds great.
But the fire has to come out in a lot of developments anyway, right? So they're out there. The fire department has to come out for commercial all the time,
Yes, sir.
and they come out for large multifamily all the time.
Yes, sir.
So they're out there anyway.
Mhm.
Okay. So, and another point, these small, if you develop, like Samantha just mentioned, a small unit for your family and it's on Rose Street or Cheryl Lane or whatever, and we have a large event, fire event in the city of Phoenix, it's not going to make a hill of a beans of difference because all the homes around it aren't to that particular specification. No, I know the chances of having an Omea type fire event again are negligible, but in reality, if someone's building a new ADU on Rose Street or Cheryl Lane, and we have these requirements, it's not going to make a hill of a beans of difference if there is a major problem.
If I might, I think the idea though is that over time you would eventually get all of the homes or more of the homes on board with that. So I don't know if in isolation, each one right now in the beginning, but I think that the concept, that's my understanding of the concept, is that when you do those retroactive or retrofit kind of changes, that eventually you're moving everybody towards the direction of more resiliency.
Mr. Chair, if I can just, I would throw this out there too. We updated our noxious vegetation code a year ago-ish. So I was looking at like, okay, maybe we should, how do we handle that for existing, no development proposed whatsoever. It's already fairly dialed in. If you wanted to address existing, there we do have options available for creating defensible space. But basically it would be updating our municipal code and prescribing a defensible space around the a structure, right, of 5 feet, and just saying, hey, fuels, remove those from 5 feet. We could have that conversation. I could bring draft code for municipal code update if you prefer to apply this to all properties.
Commissioner Smith.
So my 2 cents is going to be similar to what I had before with existing. It will be time and cost prohibitive to a lot of people to remove structures, pull out vegetation, trim trees. I understand wanting to move that direction. But I've sat in a few recent city council meetings or listened to them via video, and people are outraged over a few dollars of fee increase. So I'm going to say I am pretty hardcore against asking people to maybe spend $500 to trim a tree when they are up in arms. And I don't have the numbers with me, but Jeff, you had previously provided like the income of Phoenix, and we have more people in poverty than Jackson County. Like we're higher on the not good side of the money spectrum. Like our people don't have the means that the rest of Jackson County has. And we know there's plenty of people in Jackson County that don't have it. So when it comes to imposing anything financial, I'm going to have a really hard time voting for that for our existing residents.
I think that there's a
Thank you. I
distinction.
think you make a good point. I mean, we're talking about families that are in the school district, families that are buying groceries, and families that are very much they're the strongest part of the 5,000 community population of our town. And we hear from a few people that don't stand for that. And I agree. I think that this has to be applied and make it affordable.
Yes.
And two, if you really look at the reality of a say a structure fire, a smaller structure, the safety and something like that, we have a fire district that's going to be on it very, very quickly and hopefully contain that. what we had a few years ago with the wildfire, that was a 50-mile-an-hour wind. That was hard to control, but we can't look back at that. Let's just look at how we can move ahead with a good plan. We're not going to have it exactly perfect, but let's just get close. And I think a lot of it is just having people mindful. Look at where your neighbor's fence and say like, gosh, that's just, you got a whole lot of brush stacked up here and it's not right. And it's communication within these people that you're talking about, the 5,000 people that live in Phoenix in tight, some tight spaces, some tight corners and that. But yeah, I think moving ahead, especially like you're saying, Phoenix 3, yes, we're going to have a lot of maybe affordable housing. We got affordable housing now is already approved. And when they present their blueprints, when they present their everything, they have to do traffic studies. All of that's part of it. So we really don't, the fire department's already involved. Basically, is that correct? I mean, so I'm just trying to get everybody up to understanding that a lot of these things are already taken care of. And it's awesome that we have a strong planning department that can look at these things, pinpoint them in case of a fire, when you got large structures like an R1, R3, R2, that many residents have the safety to get out of that building and everything around it to protect it. And it's already in there. When these guys pull a building permit, a lot of these things are already handled.
Thank you, Chair, if I may.
Yes.
That's hard. Thank you.
Commissioner McFadden, please go ahead.
So I just want to draw a distinction here because I'm hearing different things when I hear Commissioner Lutz, when I hear Commissioner Smith, and what I'm trying to think that I think I'm saying.
Can we
I'm
hold for a moment? Can we have the closed caption put back on? I want to make sure I hear every single word. So yes, it's back on. Please again, start.
That's okay. I was saying, so I think I just want to get a distinction and clarification and make sure I'm understanding right. So I'm hearing, because I think I'm hearing different things. What I think I'm hearing from Commissioner Lutz was about, if somebody's building an ADU like on Rose Street, which I did, if we're adding or making modifications to existing homes, and then and that's making a modification, and that's different than what I think I hear Commissioner Smith talking about, which is this is something that we're going to ask somebody who's not making any changes or any investment and has no budget for change to their household, right? And I think those are two different things. My understanding and my question or thinking on this was, if we are doing significant renovations or something that's requiring permits or to some threshold when we're going in, that there might be an opportunity for us to be able to upgrade those homes. Those are ostensibly, like homeowners like me, we had budgets for those projects. It's not somebody who is on a fixed income who is not doing anything and all of a sudden has this burden that they have to meet in order to stay in compliance. So I just want to kind of draw that distinction, and I'm not sure right now where the current plan lies with that.
I think that let me put this statement that you're saying here together. I think what I heard from Commissioner Smith was not an add-on or that kind of thing. I think she was just basically talking about the general community.
What do we have, Commissioner Smith?
I mean, can you clarify what she thinks, what she heard and what I heard?
So generically, people that aren't adding, like I said, I'm against that. I guess I would add that I would struggle imposing the strictness of what is presented here on small additions and ADUs, because again, in my mind, I know a number of people that are in this situation. Mom and daughter move in together. Kids can't afford rent. Parents create the small addition to move their kids and whatever. And they stretch their own budgets to do that. And potentially with this 30 feet of surrounding on a small 400 square foot ADU, you could essentially take up the rest of the property where there would be potentially adding tens of thousands of dollars, potentially, depending on what the circumstances are. No canopy of the trees touching, like what has to be removed. That's going to be dependent per lot. But as I walk around this town, I've seen a number of them where I just go dollar sign, and knowing roughly what those equate to from being in construction and working with tree services and stuff. It could make that financing they have to get and stretch that budget more. So there's two separate pieces to that for me. I'm against existing completely, but I don't know that I am as stringent as this would be on residential expansion, because again, Phoenix is one of the most affordable places to live in the valley still. Many of these people have lived here for years. Maybe they bought their house for $150,000 and they've got enough equity to spend 80 grand on a ADU expansion, and that's all they're going to get is that 80 grand. And if we tack things on that might add and put them over that 100,000 mark, that will be prohibitive to people. And I'm just very sensitive, given everything I've heard from our residents recently.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Well, I was just saying, I don't want to have the fire department go out with the planning department for even the smallest of changes, like a 400 square foot ADU. That was my point, basically. Keep it short.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. I would agree with you, Commissioner Lutz, and I would potentially believe that that we could carve out. I understand the expense could get really high, but I also believe that we worked really hard in making this to make sure that it wasn't cost prohibitive, and we took out a lot of the big ticket items. So I would like to think that even though I was in a situation with a budget, I still had requirements that I had to meet for safety. And so I'm okay with this being included for that group.
All righty. So back to you, Mr. Wilcox.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we've talked about kind of what scope and scale these things should be applied to, but maybe we could talk a little bit about a little bit more about the treatment requirements, right? So there's the vegetation treatment, and totally agree. Trimming trees can get expensive really quick. Let's see, where else would I go? So vegetation management it seems like, gosh, 2/3 of the requirements. And then like maybe a tiny little section on fencing next to a structure needs to be metal or, other non-flammable material. I'd love to get, input from you on that. See if we agree with that.
I agree.
And
I do. That makes sense. Yeah. If you got a wood fence, you need a metal gate. So many feet. What page would that be on?
So it's on a couple, 9 and 15.
9 and 15. Okay.
So, and that's just that's consistent with the whole 0 to 5 foot defensible space thing, right? Basically right next to a structure for 5 feet out, non-combustible materials.
And that's new build.
Yes, sir. But the way this code is written, and we can change this if you want, is if someone comes in for a fence permit tomorrow, and this code's adopted,
Gotcha.
then they have to have metal fencing or gate, whatever they choose next to the structure.
That's reasonable. Any comments on that? Because I think it is important, because that especially, houses next to each other, whatever, structure fire, whatever.
Well,
Any comment, please?
I saw no problem with it, but I want to hear from those who have a problem with it. If anyone has a problem with that, I'd like to hear about it, because maybe there's something I'm not seeing.
I don't have a problem. I had a question. So for my clarity, what you're saying is if we put this fencing language into our current code, nobody would get fined or punished for existing. It's only if they come in for a fence permit.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Correct.
Then I guess my comment to that is I don't know that I would call it strict enough, because if it's got a wood frame, if they're coming in for the fence permit anyways and budgeting for it, I guess you could in theory have wood continuity by having the gate or structure be backed with wood and it just spreads across. So that is a bit of a challenge for me. Because the fire is going to travel through the wood. It's a little less of a break, but it's not significant enough to actually break it.
Okay. Anybody else have a comment?
Was that recommendation taken from the Ashland code?
Yes, sir.
Well, maybe we can check into why they think that that's a good enough break. I know it's Samantha has a question about it. Was questioning whether it
Yes,
would be a fire break.
I'll
Maybe
make
it's
a note.
something, maybe we don't know. Maybe it's a 2x4 and a bunch of metal.
I know my neighbor, he ran into this very situation, with his insurance company. His insurance company demanded that he put a metal something between the wood fence and that. So, I mean, it's already, the insurance companies look at that. And because if a fire starts, fence catches on fire, if there's metal, it's considered a buffer. And I don't think it's asking too much. I mean, I really don't.
That's a good point.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if I could just throw in just anecdotally, right? After the Alameda fire, I was working in Talent and we basically went door to door with those little FEMA surveys and kind of did a damage assessment. And I would just definitely submit that I noticed a pattern and the fences seem to be one of those things.
yeah.
But 5 feet, that I don't know if that would make a huge difference or just, but definitely it seemed like they were basically like a fuse from home to home, those fences. Cedarwood was just brutal.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would say, I'm just noting that can we get an understanding? Because again, I don't see it being a fire break if the frame can still be out of wood, because that doesn't make sense to me because that's not a true fire break.
If I might add to that, I think there is wood that can be treated with fire retardant. So I don't know if that's anything that you wanted to consider adding, as if you wanted it to be wood, if it has to be treated with fire retardant. I'm not advocating for that position, just saying that option is available if that appeals to those folks on the commission.
Yeah, there is some composition type of wood that's available that's more fire resistant. That's correct.
Oh, Mr. Chair, if I may, there's just one
Yes.
more material thing. So, and that'll round out this whole prescription conversation. So there's the plan requirement, there's the vegetation abatement and treatment, and then there's the fencing. And then the last thing is the roof material, right? If someone removes 50% or more, they require a Class B or better roof covering. And so I looked into this a little bit. I don't have all of the materials memorized for roof surfacing, but asphalt shingle, that would be a Class A, I believe. So that'd be good. Ceramic, stone, all those Class A. Class B would be like surprisingly polycarbonate falls in Class B, most of them, and I think maybe fiberglass. But anyway, so it's fairly permissive, but it's something worth paying attention to. If you want, I can delve into that a little bit more too.
Any comments?
Is Class B or better common? Do people actually these days go out and do less than Class B for a roof? No. Okay.
Thank you. Anything? Continue, please.
Oh, no, thank you. And just looking for, hoping basically bring some draft code to you. And I can get this notice to DLCD for a code update. If you want to move forward with this, or if you don't like going in this particular direction, we could certainly talk municipal code change instead, or tabling this for now, coming back to it. So I'd just love to get some consensus. You want me to go ahead and notice DLCD for a code update, or how are we feeling?
Let's start with right over here. What's your input? Marcia.
I most of what I'm seeing here. I just saw it. And I mean,
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Norton.
I think we're making pretty good progress here. So it does seem like the next step is to actually have something specific and tangible
Mhm.
to start talking about. One question I have, and the statement about the roofs, how would that be enforceable? Because like, is that another permit? Do I have to apply for a permit when I get a roof?
I want to ask City of Ashland how they're imposing that, because I know when I replaced my, shingles in Medford, I looked into what permits are required, and building code doesn't call for permits unless you're replacing a certain amount of sheathing. So what is the mechanistic trigger for this roofing material? I'm gonna have to kick the can on that one and follow up with City of Ashland on that particular thing. I don't know how we enforce that.
I like your question. Do you think you think that should be considered to have a permit just to replace your roof? I mean, just to open ended?
Permitting. A
No,
question.
it's a good question.
The enforceable things.
Sure.
So, and if it's kind of a moot point anyways, nobody's doing lower than a class B.
Yeah,
Maybe we're safe, maybe, I don't know where to fall on that one. And then I think the question I'd like to ask Jeff, if you're having a conversation, is what incentives is the city providing to do some of this? We've talked a lot about the stick, but are there any carrots that they have that would be paired with education?
A great question. I have heard Zach talk about perhaps a modest discount on maybe water service. But we'd have to, again, this would call for staff time. Someone's going out there to inspect. Hey, did you xeriscape your yard like you promised you would? And then every year go out and re-verify it. So that's one potential path. There are many, but I'd be open to looking into that and following up at the next meeting too, and just telling you what I find. But that was the one that kind of jumped out, was maybe a modest discount to the water bill for xeriscaping a yard or some kind of defensible space treatment.
I mean, I'd be satisfied if the city was even willing to look into grants.
Grants.
To apply for on behalf of the city and do that, periodically. So I don't ask that question implying that the city would potentially lose revenue and incur more.
Maybe there's some way to,
Just
another idea too, maybe like some kind of urban renewal type grant, because maybe there's some way to say, hey, this combats blight, and also it's a good example of a landscaping project that will make the structure fire hardened, or the landscaping.
can urban renewal reach outside of the district of urban renewal?
Good point.
No.
I don't think so, exactly. But nice try. Mr. Les.
Well, I think what we discussed tonight gives you some guidance on how to come back with the language that we'd like to see. I think it's fairly clear, and I'm all for it. Do your thing.
Commissioner Smith.
Yeah, I'm in agreement, like I said, with most of this, with the caveats that were carved out earlier. The only one thing that I kind of didn't see in this and was, from my perspective, working in building, knowing venting is one of the easiest, most accessible places, and maybe it's in the code somewhere else in our building code, but that would be a requirement I would put in there about having fire resistant venting, because I don't care if you make the thing out of steel, if the vents are open and these sparks get into your highly flammable insulation, the whole thing's going to go up anyways and burn from the inside out. So that's one of the things I would add.
Make sure I understand this. So you're suggesting that fences will be non-flammable? Did I?
Vents. Yeah, fire resistant vents that control the flow in, so that sparks would not wind up in your crawl space and light the insulation on from the inside or the vents going into your attic.
No, I got that.
Yeah,
So you're saying that additional fencing or my fencing around my house to be fine?
vents, VENTS,
I'm
vents.
sorry.
Yeah,
Oops.
sorry.
I should have read that. Sorry.
No, it's okay. And
I
again,
apologize. Sorry. Yeah, no, very good. No, thank you. No, yeah, exactly. I didn't even know you could get them any other way. It's like dolly pedal, but anyway, good input. I guess that's, I'm sorry. I almost left, Commissioner McFadden out. I want to hear from you.
I'm okay to move forward with some draft language. I'm excited about the concept and appreciate all the work that's gone into it so far.
Very good. Well, you need anything else?
The only question percolating really at this point is, do we have consensus on what this applies to, or do we want to hold off on that until the next meeting where I have firm answers from Ashland on how it's been going so far?
When you say applies to, I mentioned earlier, they don't want the mom and pop redo the home. They have to have the fire department come in and do their thing. It's more for multi-family commercial.
Got it.
That's
That's what it's saying.
that they seem not to.
Okay.
So that's where the distinction.
Okay.
So do we need a vote or what do we do here for your consensus that you're looking for? I think from what I understand, I hear positive things and I agree. I think it's obviously everything we do is not bulletproof, but you know what? I think we're getting really close than we were months ago.
Mhm.
So thank you.
Yes, sir. I think that this informal consensus works. I will go ahead and open it up for noticing and think that we can have this to you August or September.
And then it goes to council after that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
I need 35 days for DLCD, so we'll just be a little
Okay.
while.
All right. Well, good job, everybody. Good job, Mr. Wilcox. So where are we at here? So, old business, or
Sorry,
are we
Chair.
in-
Sorry, Chair Helfrich. Being online, it's a little harder for me sometimes. Sorry for an interruption, but I have a question about what just happened. I wasn't able to quite hear the conversation with Jeff and Commissioner Lutz, so I didn't quite understand if are we moving forward with Jeff being able to contact Ashland and get the answers to those questions and incorporate that into some draft language? Is that where we landed?
Yes, ma'am. So I will reach out to Ashland just to see how it's going, but also it seems like the consensus was basically we're going to apply this. My draft code will be changed to apply to commercial and multifamily. That'll be the scope.
Yeah, I think what we approved is what we have here in front of us, and you're just looking for maybe additional from Ashland, correct?
Yes, sir. Just to see how it's rolled out for them.
See, yeah, okay.
Sounds good. Thank you for that clarification.
Yep.
Okay, so is that it on business? Commissioners, Marcia, I'm sorry. Commissioner comments.
I was wondering if we have an update on commissioners that are on or may have resigned. I saw something online. I was wondering if it was a rumor or if there has been an official notice.
All I can say is I haven't seen a document. I'm not informed on that.
Miss Commissioner Lutz.
Well, I had a bit of a concern about something that we made a motion and passed it at the end of the public hearing. And it was at around 9:20 at night. And it passed fairly quickly, but when I went into the code, it seemed like we passed a motion for staff to bring back language that would allow the commission to consider neighborhood impact to residents to better make decisions. And when I looked at the code, it's already in there. For instance, the planning commission may require, it says in the code, the planning commission may require any of the reasonable restrictions, conditions, or safeguard that would mitigate the zoning ordinance and adverse effect upon neighborhood properties. And it goes on. And then it also talked about compatible uses within the vicinity, not the neighborhood, use the word vicinity. And then it uses words not to alter the character of the surrounding areas. So I don't want staff to have to spend a lot of time doing something that seems to already be in code. Maybe I'm missing something, but I just want to make that comment. And then staff can take it from there. But if we already have it in there, I still don't want staff to spend an inordinate amount of time rehashing what we've already got.
Okay,
Like, you're missing something, but that was my,
yeah, thank you.
okay,
I think I can clarify that.
what's that?
I'm sorry, one at a time.
I have a 16-year. You can have you take it.
I didn't want to look it up.
She got their glasses off to read, but I gotta put my glasses on.
I think you can get worse. You know,
All
That
right,
sounded like a conditional use criterion in my mind. It just
I think
sounded,
it is on conditional use.
so section 444, I think, somewhere in there.
yes.
Yeah.
Is that what you see?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Smith?
No comment.
For me, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
It was me. It was me.
Not seeing you
actually.
here, I just keep forgetting you're out there, but yes, please want to hear from you.
So I was the one who initiated that motion, and I might be able to offer a little bit of a recap and framing for that. So we had just finished our conditional use permit vote for the Guggenheim project, and in our ordinance, and we had a few commissioners say they wish that they could have considered more of been more responsive to what the residents were bringing forward. So when I look at that, our voting requirements, we're allowed to make conditions based off of neighborhood impact, but we aren't able to approve or deny an application based off of neighborhood impact. And that was a limitation that I think played a part perhaps in that circumstance. So when I looked at other codes, there are other codes that have a much more specific and much more inclusive consideration for neighbors. And so I think that we could improve our code, or at least look at some other options and discuss what they are. And that includes the ability to approve or deny based off of neighborhood impact, not just to place conditions on it.
All righty, thank you. Yeah, my comment is on neighborhoods, and I'd like to think about the 5,000 people of Phoenix. I listened to the mayor's town hall meeting, and what I heard a person say, and I can understand this, that Phoenix goals, what are the Phoenix goals? And I know Mr. Les and I've been on city council, and we always have goal setting sessions. And so decades ago, there was a huge goal setting session, and part of this was the RPS process, which moved Phoenix in a direction that we're still weighing in on. It's still out there. Phoenix 3, PH 3 and 5. And it took, we had an awesome mayor and planning commission at that time, that 5,000 people built an interchange. Medford can't even put in an overpass, but 5,000 people built a 300, I can't even remember the number on it, $300 million interchange. And through the RPS process, got in all the commercial highway. And that's what was going to help pay for this interchange. Commissioner McFadden worked for Alan Bates. Alan Bates, decades ago, was a huge helped us get through this. It was, I can't even hardly wrap my arms around it, that we were able to build an interchange. Phoenix was able to build an interchange. And with that came interstate commercial business. And the idea of that is to take the tax burden away from the 5,000 people that are walking their kids to school, involved in everything that we do in Phoenix as a small community. When you hear that ice cream truck come through town, we all hear it. That's Phoenix. That's the 5,000 people. Who's going to pay for police and fire and all these things, planning this building, all these things? What that council was planning on was commercial highway. Can you imagine? I mean, think about what Home Depot pays in taxes, what Exit 24 pays in taxes, what Petro, the furniture stores, I mean, and everything that's to come. Every development that comes in on commercial highway is paying for to keep good services, keep the standard of Phoenix that these 5,000 people deserve. And think about Phoenix. Now, not too many communities has this opportunity. Talent doesn't. They can't even afford to hire a city recorder. Gold Hill, Rogue River, Shady Cove, nobody has this opportunity that we have. We're sitting in the catbird seat of revenue that so many communities can't pull together. And I'm thankful for decades ago, we had a ribbon cutting for the overpass interchange 2014. We approved the RPS process, which is took every community in Rogue Valley to master plan what Rogue Valley was going to look like, where we're going to grow. And Phoenix, man, we were pretty aggressive to pull in all of PH 3 and 5. 3 was unincorporated, and we took it. And it's going to bring in tremendous revenue from everything that's out there potentially waiting to come in. It was that's really about it. It's I had something else to say and I can't think of it right now, but I think about how we moved ahead and the we did have a goal. And the second goal that Phoenix has is urban renewal. Urban renewal. Chris, Liz, and I were involved in counselors that said, we don't need urban renewal, status quo is working. Well, it's not. And urban renewal and the current mayor, Mr. Muhlhofer, and a lot of people really brought Phoenix together, and really there's another set of goals that Phoenix was able to do through urban renewal. And so we have two Phoenixes. I always say this, we got two Phoenixes. We got the 5,000 people over here, but we got who's going to pay the bill and keep the standard that we have and available for the city of Phoenix. And so that's my last word on that.
The big comment, but important.
Thank you. Right. Anyway, so staff, do you have a planner's report?
Yes, sir. Zach gave me a little data download before he took off for the day, and I want to pass along what I can. I'll be as brief as possible. So, Joe, if you could pull up our web browser, I just wanted to share this. This is a great new resource. Scroll up on this page and then go to departments, community and economic development, planning. Yeah, scroll down. All right, so community presentations, bottom left. This is, Zach's been giving a lot of town halls and presentations lately, and so I just wanted to share this with you. If you're interested, click that drop down, please, Joe. And so here's a few presentations. We got a couple of videos. One of the presentations, the land use appeal guidance is from our city attorney, Hannah Harding. But it's just a great resource. And you might find something you might want to share with your, neighbors and things like that too. So I just wanted to make you aware of this. And then, Joe, if you could go to the interactive map tab for me. Can you zoom in on the center of town, like the little red area? So I just want to kind of share, like, Zach is basically very prime when it comes to grant projects, and we're very excited to share that there's 4 common parking areas going in the downtown. It's parking areas with also stormwater treatment for the impervious surface areas and things like that. These are intended to basically help reduce the burdens on private commercial developments in the downtown. So if you could zoom in just a tiny bit more, Joe, I'll show you where the parking stalls are. So, and then scroll down just a touch. Thanks. So there's a blue pin on that very north red parcel there. So keep cruising down a little bit. So this is a medical office building project that Urban Renewal has basically been working on. So that's coming down the line. Right adjacent to it is one of these parking areas. This is federal tax dollars that, it's federal grant money that we're working with here to get that new parking area. It'll help support all the adjacent businesses in the area. And across the street from City Hall there with the 3 little dots on it, that's City Hall. Down to the south there, that's City Hall. And so right across the street from there, there's going to be another parking area. And then I'll just explain the other 2 right across the street from Moxie Brew. There's going to be one, and down back behind Indigo Creek Outfitters, Will Wolpert's business, there's going to be another shared parking area for all commercial businesses to use, and just to help with cross access and things like that. So Zach is working on that one. It's going out to bid, and we're hoping for kind of groundbreaking type stuff late summer, early fall. Also, we got some grant money to work on the Civic Center natural area right down over here. So the ultimate goal is to have a little pathway with interactive or basically interpretive signs. But step 1 is getting the vegetation abated, the nuisance stuff, and then getting some native stuff planted. So we got some grant money, and that's going to start this summer and fall as well. You may have heard Blue Heron Park is expanding in the downtown. We're still, sourcing revenue for the park improvements themselves, but that's firm. That's pretty exciting in the downtown corridor area. We have a new intern on board. They're helping us map some water infrastructure, like water box locations and things like that, because our data set kind of was stuck in time about 2006. It hasn't been updated. So we're very excited to have David on our team working on that. Really quick, we have the comprehensive plan update for the little interim transportation system plan has been noticed. So you'll see that coming to you August 10th, and then that'll go to City Council for their final review if it passes by you. What else do we have going on? We have some housekeeping code updates. It sounds like we're going to be taking a look at the TEC zone and firming up the language. The TEC zone, again, that's in the northeast side of town, that big purple area. We're just going to tighten up the language a little bit. The subject matter is kind of data centers. So it's an employment area as it's been slated, in the policy, in the regional problem solving policy. So data centers are not big employers. And so we're just going to firm up the code for allowed uses in that zone to preserve that for more employment type uses. Yeah. So basically, I believe that we're just going to, it's already pretty much not allowed a data center in that zone, but we're just going to tighten up language just a little bit.
Okay.
And I think this comes from the top down. So that'll be coming.
Yeah, I guess my question is it's only going to affect the TEC zone, so it wouldn't affect anywhere else. So if somebody wants to put a data center in the helicopter pad, that would still be allowed?
To be determined, but I think we're looking at all industrial.
Okay.
zones.
That.
You're right. You're right.
That's still counting.
It's in the UGB, but it's not all the way in our city limits yet.
Okay.
Oh, and that brings up the final point. Our city's growing, our UGB expanded. As you might remember, just a few months ago, you voted in support of a UGB expansion area on the northwest side of town. So urban reserve area, PH1A, part of that's coming in. So growing.
That reminds me, the expansion does not include the apartments just north of Pickers Paradise or one of the mobile homes near there. And it's a huge source of revenue for us.
Mhm.
Is that on the table for,
Unfortunate.
what's that?
It's unfortunate. I was looking at that, and I think a few years ago, the reason we couldn't lasso them in was because they weren't quite an enclave. We didn't have the boundaries we needed to pull them in. So we're looking at those areas, but I don't think we have any plans to pull them in anytime on the short horizon, at least.
Okay. Seems like a natural fit for the expansion. In March, we annexed PH3, but that one little area is not included for some reason. That's a huge source of revenue for us if we can get it. Anyway, getting off track a little bit.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That's all I
no,
have.
that's going back to decades ago that actually that whole area Medford wanted it. And the council I was on at that time, back in 2012, early 2000s, we battled on the RPS process to not be Medford's bedroom community. We lost our chief of police. The sheriff department had taken jurisdiction over our city. We went through a really rough time, and Medford was sharpening their swords, and we battled to not let them have that area because they already had part of it. Their fire response was from Medford. The sheriff department was part of that. Medford Sheriff Department was our sheriff at one time, and we battled hard to keep those people out and be thankful that Medford, we are not a bedroom community to Medford, including PH5.
So,
Anything else, Jeff? I'm sorry.
Oh, Christina put together a really good building permit update. I'll just say we had 176 total permits received first half of the year. And we have new planning actions on the horizon, multifamily going up in PH3. So
Nice.
very excited about that. We're growing for sure. And that's it.
All right. Well, thank you for your update. Our next meeting will be August 10th. Is that correct? Are we still on?
Yes, sir.
All righty. So everybody will be there at August 10th. And if there's nothing else, meeting adjourned. Thank you.